again, back at the allotment. As you can see, a nice sunny day at the moment, but we had rain today, we had showers. We could do a lot more rain, but the weather's broken from those weeks and weeks of hot sunny weather where I was carrying gallons and gallons of water across the allotment. We've had a few showery nights, a bit of rain a couple of nights ago, and more due tomorrow, high winds tomorrow as well. So before we go much further, I'll just show you what's happening in the allotment. We'll see that the raspberries have started to ripen. There's a few red spots I can see in the bushes, and some of the strawberries, and they're going red as well. Peas are going well, but I'll just show you that rather than tell you about it. Okay, so here we are. There's some of the raspberries you can see going red, and there's a few more in the distance there. I'll just zoom in a little bit so you can see them. Yeah. Only the small ones. There's an awful lot more here that need to plump up and ripen up over the next few weeks. You can see the blackcurrant bushes are absolutely hanging in berries. They need to ripen up, and as long as we keep on having this rain like we are at the moment and the sunshine, it won't take long before they're ready for picking as well. And the little row of potatoes you can see are growing well at the moment. I'm going to earth them up a little bit later on today. And behind there you can see my peas are growing nicely as well. All coming on, nothing like a bit of rain. Okay, so here are my beans, runner beans, going up the poles nicely. They've had gallons of water over the last few weeks, every night. And so that's helped them a lot. And there are my Brussels sprout plants, all taken, and they're all survived. And another set of peas. We did have a few flowers a couple of days ago, but they need to grow a little bit more yet before we start picking. So here's the Victoria plum tree. I've started taking a few off already. I need to take some more off. I can't have all of these growing. It looks like a waste, but the tree won't be able to support all these plums. So I'm just going to take off the small ones and let the others grow. Taking a lot of small ones off already, but I'm going to have to continue to do them, especially on the longer branches like these here, because they'll just break with the weight of the plums as they grow, because they'll all grow hopefully to the size of hen's eggs, and you can imagine the weight of that on the end of these branches. It'll just knock them off. So I'm going to be continuing to clear this as well today. Okay, another tale from the allotment then. As you're probably aware, I joined the police force in 1982, and within sort of 18 months or so, Arthur Scargill took out the miners on strike. It lasted 12 months or more, and as a young police officer then, I got involved quite a lot with that. I spent all but a week, 6 months away from home that year. We'd be picked up, not knowing where we were going, but we were picked up at about 3 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon, and we get home back about, I don't know, 7 o'clock on a Friday night, have a Saturday off, and then go back off again on Sunday afternoon again. And some of the lads I worked with went up into Yorkshire and places like that. I spent all my time down in the South Wales area, looking after the South Wales mines. And the first week we travelled by coach everywhere, back home, back out the next day, and this got too much, so they hired us vehicles on the second week. And I remember I was given along with this Land Rover to drive. It was hired, and then within 2 or 3 days of me driving it, I had to go into a garage to get 3 brand new tyres, because they're all bald. Such was the way of hiring things in those days. But anyway, we stayed for about 4 months or so down at a holiday camp in Kidwelly, in these little wooden chalets, and we were down there during the winter time, and we got this holiday camp, and we thought, oh, this is okay, this is not too bad, because I know a lot of the lads were sleeping in aircraft hangars and places like that. So we had a chalet, 3 of us to a chalet, but the problem is, because it was winter, right next to the sea, when we went in there, they were cold, they were wet, they were damp. In fact, as you walked across the carpet, you could see water being pushed away by the weight of your feet on the carpet. It was that wet. And the heating and electric and everything was run on 50 pence meters. So if you hired it, you put your 50p in. and you'd have to keep putting 50p's in for your electricity, and we complained about how wet and cold it was, so they took the fronts off these meters and gave us a 50p piece for us to put in, so we didn't have to pay for that power. And in our chalet, it was that wet that we put the 50p in, I don't know, probably 20-30 times to get enough credit. And then when we left for the afternoon for the our work with the miners in the afternoon as they were leaving the pits, we put on the electric cooker, opened the door, put it on flat out, the 4 rings on the top and the grill, we just put them on until they were all red hot and just left. We did our pushing and shoving with the miners, and then came back, I don't know what time it was in the evening, and walked into the chalet, and it was like an oven, literally like an oven. It had got so hot in the chalet that the curtain rails, which are these old-fashioned plastic rails, had melted, and the weight of the curtains had pulled them down into big W shapes in front of the windows. Everything that was plastic in that room had gotten soft, melted. The carpet had dried out a lot, and the bedding was a lot better. But yeah, it was wet, then it was dry, but then we couldn't close the curtains because the rails were all over the place. No issue with it though, no issue. I think the people who were running the holiday home were making so much money out of the police force at the time that they were quite happy with us being there. Normally they wouldn't have hardly made any money at all over the winter time, but say we were there for about 4 months. There were no complaints from the owners that some damage that we did. But it was a strange time because when I joined the police force, my gross pay then was less than £7,000. Within 18 months of being in the police force, I was working on a miners' strike, and I remember one take-home pay one month was about £2,734, which was a phenomenal amount of money. But as I say, we were away. I was away for 6 months apart from a week, going away at 3 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon and coming back on a 5-7 o'clock on a Friday night. Yeah, it was a terrible time for the miners, but for police officers working there, for the most part, it was very, very good as such, money-wise. And to be honest, in South Wales, we didn't have an awful lot of problems. We did have odd problems, but the miners who were on strike, it was almost comical that we'd turn up a pit before the buses came in or the buses were leaving. As they were approaching or as they were leaving, we'd link arms, all the police officers together, into a line. The miners who were on strike would come towards us, and we'd have a bit of a push, a bit of a shove, and the bus would be either let in or let out and be gone, and that'd be it. And we'd say, oh, see you later on then, see you tonight, or see you tomorrow morning, and they'd go away, and we'd go away, and no real issue. I'd say there were a few issues in South Wales, but nothing like there was up in Yorkshire or Grieve and places like that. It was much more civilised. But then again, we're Welsh and we're civilised anyway.